Hello guys, welcome to Technofun and welcome to this Python class again. So today we have some basic stuff of Python. The first stuff which we are going to see is ternary operator. The second thing which we will be looking at is mutable and immutable property of Python and for which type of data it applies. It's very important from interview point of view. Third thing which we are going to see is tuple. We have packing and unpacking concept in tuple, and we will see like where we will be using it in a real life uh, project environment. The fourth thing which we are going to see is string formatting. So there are a couple of ways Python allow you to format your string while printing it on the screen. And the fifth one, we will see like how do we accept input from user like at the runtime program. As of now, we have seen like we are providing the prints screen in the print format. But now we will see like when a program wants a user's input, we'll see how we can do that. All right. So let's start with our Jupyter notebook. So guys, I have already opened Jupyter notebook here. I have already shown how we open it. We go to Anaconda Navigator and we have this Jupyter notebook. We will launch it, and that is what we will see when we launch it. All right. So we'll click new, and here we have Python 3. So just click on this Python 3. It will open interactive mode of Python. Okay, guys, the first thing which we will be looking at is ternary operator. Okay, so what is ternary operator? So it's nothing but the comparison operator between two or more variables. Like when we say if x is less than y, then what? If x is greater than this, or boolean data type also it can work. So we will see how it is going to work. This is basically a very efficient way of comparing your variables against other variables. All right, so let's see. First, let's say we will assign some three variables some values. Okay, so let's say x is 5 and y equals to 6 and z equals to 7. Shift enter. So let's see the values of x, y, z. Oh, sorry, so I think it gave me the latest one. So the value of x is this, value of y is this, and z is this. Okay. So guys, let's say if I want to see if I want to print a value of x only when x is less than y, and the value of z when x is not less than y. So what are we going to do in normal format? So let's say we will have this kind of if statement like if x less than y, print value of x. Okay, else print value of z. So what did it say? The value of x is 5, value of y is 6, and the value of z is 7. So when I'm saying when if x is less than y, then print x, else print z. So it qualifies in this condition, so it printed y 5. So this is our basic stuff of writing the comparison thing among different type of uh, variables. Same thing, guys, we can do in a single line. So this is what called a ternary operators. So what we will do, let's say what you want to print is x, so I'll put x, and when you want to print x, that condition will come now. So x, if x less than y, else z. And now when I press shift enter, it will give me 5. Same thing. So what does that mean? So here we had 4 line of code, and here we had just 1 line of code. So it is printing. So the very first thing will be the print thing, what you are going to print at screen, and This is going to be our first condition. If it gets satisfied, then return this, else return this. So let's modify this a little bit. So let's say if x less than y, the value of x is the value of x is 5. So when I'm saying print x, if x greater than y, the value of y is 6, so it will not fall here, it will always fall in else part. So let's say it should return 7, the value of z. So print, so see, it returned me 7. So guys, if you are wondering, like we can only use variables, so that's not true. We can use anything. Like let's say if I want uh, the print something, print something. So see, it printed something. Or let's say when it is true, this thing is true, I can write x is less than y. So yeah, you can while printing, you can print anything. It should not be just x, y, or z. It can be anything. Okay, so yes, so this was the first concept which we saw. This is called ternary operator in Python. Okay, so now we will see what is mutable and what is immutable. So I don't know whether I have explained this in our previous classes, but a mutable thing in Python is like whenever you can change or modify a particular element of a data type a variable, then that's called mutable. Otherwise, if you are not able to modify, then it's called immutable. So let's say if we have a list. So let's say the list is lst equals to 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4. All right, let's print the value. It's 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4. So if you see lst 0, 0 is the first, 0 index means the first one. So the value of lst0 is 1. But if you want to modify it, let's say equals to, you want to, instead of 1, you want to print 9. So lst0 equals to 9. And now if I print lst, it is changed, right? So guys, this is called mutable. That means you can change. Lists are mutable data types. Okay, whereas this is very important exam question actually. When they'll say which data types are mutable and which are not mutable. So list is the mutable data types, and if you see string, the string is immutable data type. That means you cannot change the element or the index of a string variable. So let's say if you have a string called str equals to, and you have a value called hi, this is Sunday, let's say something, all right. And if you say str 0, it will print h. Okay, so h means this part. The very first element is called zeroth index. So if you want to change the string 0 to something called, let's say o, sorry, o, okay, it will give us an error. See, it says type error, str is nothing but string object does not support item assignment. So when it says string object does not support item assignment, that means you cannot modify the element of a string which is already been assigned. That means str is already been allocated a memory in Python in RAM, and when you try to change its element, it gives us error. Whereas in case of list, it does not give us an error. That means lists are mutables, whereas strings are strings are immutable. So this is very important exam question actually. They will definitely ask this question sometime in your interview also, or if you are applying for Python certification. So guys, just keep note of it. Okay, so this was our second concept today we saw, and third is tuple. So if you haven't heard about tuple, so tuples are again, they are again like a list, but with some different categories or properties, I would say. So to like list are always enclosed in this square bracket. Okay, whereas tuples, if you see, if I say a equals to 1 comma 2 comma 3 and enter, and I print the value of a, see, it has round bracket 1 comma 2 comma 3. And if you want to check its data type, how will you do? I have already explained it. So you will say type of a, it will give you tuple. So if you want to identify what are tuples and what are list, the only difference is list will have this square bracket, whereas tuple will have this bracket, open and close bracket. Okay, so yes, and again, tuple can have various combination of data type like list. So it can have 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma hello comma 10 comma 5, this. So you can say it's integer, it's string, it's float. So it can have any combination of data type. So same is the case with list also. List also can have a different combination of data type. Now let's come to the point of whether tuple is again a mutable or immutable. Like list is mutable and string is immutable. So let's try that. So when I say a, the value of a is the value of first element of tuple is 1. So and the value of second is this 2. So if you want to change the second element of a tuple to something called, let's say, 10, it will fail. Why? Because tuples are again, tuple object does not support item assignment. What does that mean? That means tuples are again immutable like strings. So guys, tuples are again immutables. The only mutable data types in Python is list. So you can modify any element anytime you want. So that is the reason list is a kind of a dynamic data type, whereas uh, tuple is called a constant. It has a constant values. You cannot change it. So whenever in a program you want some values to be constant throughout your program to make integrity among different objects or different variables, you will always use tuple, not the list, because list is vulnerable to change its index values or change its elements over the period of time as per programmer's requirement. So if you want your values to remain constant, you will always go for tuple. Okay, so we have a very interesting concept of tuple packing and unpacking. So what does that mean, packing and unpacking? So guys, whenever the values of tuples are enclosed in this bracket, that is called tuple packing. And whenever you are assigning some values to any variable, they are called tuple unpacking. So here you can see I have a tuple called a and it has these three values. Consider an example where we have x comma y comma z, three variables, and you want to assign, you can let's see this another way. You want to assign these three values to these variables. So let's say 1 comma 2 comma 3. When you execute this statement and you try to see the values of this tuple x comma y comma z, see, you will see the values of, so this always go from left to right, guys. So when you assign, when there is an equal sign, and the value of first element will always be assigned to value to the very first variable. The second value will be assigned to second variable, and so on. So guys, this is called a tuple packing. So x comma y comma z has a combined value of 1 comma 2 comma 3, whereas at this level we can say tuple is unpacked. Unpacked means they are not covered in this bracket, so they are simply called unpacked tuples. Okay, so you, this was one way you can assign it, and the other way was, see, you still have the value of a. Let's say the value of a is so here it is more value. So let's say the value of a is 4 comma 5 comma 6. You can assign this one tuple to these three guys. How? So let's say x comma y comma z equals to a. And now if you want to see x comma y comma z, you will see 4 comma 5 comma 6. That means first the variable a has these three values. Okay, rather this tuple has these three values, and when I am assigning this tuple to these three guys x y z, then the value of this tuple will accordingly assigned to these variable from left to right, where first value will be assigned to first variable, second will be second, and third will be third. So guys, this is called tuple packing and unpacking. And the very one thing is, like, if you want to know what all functions you can use with tuple or list or string, what you have to do is you simply have to uh, write the tuple name. Let's say it's a, and press dot, and then you can press tab. So that way you can see, like, add for the tuple what all variable you can see. Here they are coming twice, but actually they are count and index, only two methods or functions you can use with tuple. So the, let's see the count. Let, if I want to see the count function, so what does count mean? So sorry, so what does count mean? Count means, let's say if I place 4, so it will say the value 4 is how many times the value 4 is present in this particular tuple. So let's, the tuple value is 4 5 6, so 4 is coming only once, so it will give me 1. Okay, so let us assign this value. Let us give this 4 5 6 comma 4 comma 5 comma 5. So now the same value of a dot count of 4 should give us 1 2, because it is twice it has occurred in that particular tuple. So when I press enter, the value of count 4 will be 2. That means if you want, anytime if you want to know that this tuple contains how many 4s, you will just use count variable. All right, so the other thing was, let's say if I use 5, 5 should give us some three values. If I see use 6, 6 will be 1, because it present only 1. So the second function, if you want to see, it was a dot index. So index is nothing but to know the index of a particular element. So let's press, let's see for 6, we will see 6. So guys, it should print 0 1 2, because they always start from 0. So index of 6 will be 2. Now the very interesting thing is, if I want to use if I want to know the index of 4 or 5, what index should Python print? Like because 4 is appear twice and 5 is appearing thrice. You will always have to remember that Python will always give you the index of the first occurrence of that particular value. So let's say the index of phi, a dot index of phi, it should give us 0 and 1. It should give us 1. It will not give you the index of these two because the uh, it will only return one values, not two or three values. So the one value will always be the first occurrence of that particular variable or element. So yes, guys, this was a tuple in Python. Now we will see string formatting. This is very important and very interesting also, because there are different ways you can print your strings. So let's say we have a print. We want to print, let's say, something. Alex is born in America and he is 10 years old, something like that. So let's print this. Okay, so this is normal statement. Okay, let's say we have some variable here. Let's say America and 10. So let's say country equals to America is one variable and age equals to 10 is another variable. Okay, okay, so how to print with variable values? That means dynamically you want to print something. Okay, so guys, they have something called f string in Python. So they are called f string. So what is f string? F string is using f inside your print function. Like same thing we will use like print f and this. So what we will say, Alex is born, sorry, born in. So they have this concept called variable name. So country, born in this, and he is age, year old. So if I run this, it gives me the same thing. Alex is born in America and he is 10-year old. So this is called f string. So in f string you write everything inside your f keyword. So inside print, inside that bracket, when your string, basically inside print, you will always have this string variable, right? So before this string code start, you should always go with f first and then use your string whatever way it is, and just use uh, these variables inside these curly braces. So this is a little okay, a way of writing the print function. The second part is using format. So let's see that dot format notation. So guys, here we will use like the indexing or positioning of these variables. Let's say how. So similarly, you will write print Alex is born in, same curly braces, but here we will write 0, 0, and he is 1, 1 year old. And then when this string gets over, you have to write dot format and then name of the variable, like the 0. Now you have written 0 first, so first will be country, comma, age. So see, Alex is born in America and he is 10-year old. So guys, the little difference here in f string and dot format notation is the variables are inside these curly braces, but in dot format notation we are using variable from 0, 1, 2, 3, and after the string we will use dot format, and then the name of the variable as per their presence in the string. So these two are a little complicated way of writing or presenting string. My favorite way is the simple way. Let's call it a traditional way of writing. So what I will write simple Alex. Alex is born in. I will just write comma the name of the variable, which is country, and then again comma, and I will write and he is comma, one is what, age, he is born, sorry he is he is, yeah, 10-year old, comma, 10-year old. Hey guys, so I think we don't need this space here and this space here. So the same thing, Alex is born in America and he is 10-year old. So this I find a really simple way of writing print statement. So the key here is whenever you have any variable in between your statement, what you are going to do, you will just end that code just before the variable value you want to assign. Like America is the variable which is going to replace by country. So what I'll do, I'll start my code here and I will write Alex is born in, and then single quote closed, and this variable will always be assigned with start and end with comma. So Alex is born in comma country comma, and again the strings, and he is, so 10 is again a variable comma 10 comma year old. So guys, these three are three ways, there are three ways: f string dot format notation, or the third one I'd say is traditional way of presenting your print statement to the console. So you can write whatever way you want, whatever feasible way you like, but I like this one, so I always prefer this. So this I find a little bit jumbled up, but some people like these because they are a little bit fancier way of writing. Some people find it really good. The f string is quite used a lot. A lot of people use this, they find it quite good, so you can use this as well without any comma or something. You just need to press you just need to write the name of the variable inside your curly braces and you are good to go. Okay, so these are three way of these are three different way of writing your strings, guys. Now the third point is how to accept input from a user. It's very simple. There is a function called input. Whenever you use that input function, the Python will uh, ask for your input, a user's input, so, and then I mean it will print that value in your console. So let's start that. So let's say we have one variable called check, uh, and you want to say input. That means you want to ask user, okay, like please enter enter your name, and when you press shift enter, it will ask you please enter your name, and let's say you have written Alex, you wrote Alex, and you just press enter, so it says your name is Alex. So this is very simple way of asking user input at runtime. You can do a lot of things with this, like sometime you say please enter an integer, integer. Okay, and you run this and you press 6. So you can do a lot of things with this. So I don't have any check here. So user can press anything. So let's say you can press this IO, hello, anything. It will accept this. So in real life programming, you will be using your try catch statement in this kind of input when you want to ask users some specific data type values, and user is entering some different values. So you have to prevent that. These will be used inside your try or try catch block that we will see in our next session. So please do let us know how did you like this session of Python, and let us know if you have any suggestions so that we can incorporate that. And signing out now. Thank you guys.